Alright, so I got a reaction coming at y'all real quick, man. I saw this earlier on Facebook, man. I wanted to get my opinion on it, man. I told y'all whenever I see these type of talking points or veins of thought, I'm gonna push back on it, man. So we gonna read the whole thing. So the sister said, "Call me crazy, but I think that women who are overly aggressive and masculine in relationships do so as a defense mechanism from consensually being let down and disappointed. Women are naturally nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships until they no longer feel safe enough to be soft with you. And I speak from personal experiences as well as what I've heard from hundreds of women. One ex might tell you that I was never soft, and another might tell you I was too soft. Always emotional, always crying, always loving, etc. It's a switch that we can flip on or off in defense. So, whatever you get from us is a reflection of what y'all giving us. You gotta let that pride go as a man and acknowledge that if several women you've dated were so hard, non-submissive, and non-emotional, that the problem just might be you. You are the common denominator. Everybody else can't always be the problem. Accountability comes with growth, respectfully. And as a woman, and as women, we have to learn to also be accountable and stop dating/marrying men who have us in survival mode." I wanted to read the whole thing because I want to go line for line and deal with what's being said. Because a few of the statements in this don't really make a lot of sense. But let's go back through it. It said, "Call me crazy, but I think that women who are overly aggressive and masculine in relationships do so as a defense mechanism from consistently being let down and disappointed. Women are naturally nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships." Now, this was the first thing I wanted to push back on because I don't believe that's true. It's not true. When you look at our sisters today, just in a general sense, they're masculine as a default. They're being taught to be strong, independent. Those are masculine characteristics. That's first and foremost. So for you to have a woman who coming into relationships thinking that it's a proper way of thinking to be strong and independent, you already behind the eight ball. So I'm gonna read it again. It said, "Call me crazy, but I think that women who are overly aggressive and masculine in relationships do so as a defense mechanism." You gotta really think about it. Black men have a hard time even trying to get women to smile, which is a very feminine and soft thing to do. So if we having a hard time getting women to just smile just in general, you think they bringing that soft shit into relationships? She said, "From consistently being let down and disappointed, women are naturally nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships." And this, I went to the sister page because, sometimes, depending on what the person believes in, I won't even touch on the shit. Because if you into like Buddhism or Islam or something, it ain't no point of even, talking about it. But she said she a believer, so my thought process would be that she believe in the Bible. That's not natural according to the Bible. According to the Bible tell you that the sisters have to be taught those things. In the black community, our sisters are not taught how to be nurturing, loving, and soft. Those are not things that our sisters are being taught in the black community. So to say that they are naturally that shit is kind of crazy to me. Honestly. It's kind of crazy to be taught that in a community where, let's be honest, it's not a lot of men in the households. So most women, when they raising children on their own, you're automatically put in a masculine role. So if you're a woman growing up watching your mother do masculine shit, most likely you're going to turn out to be masculine. It is what it is. Okay. He said, "Women are naturally nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships." I want to speak on that again because, to me, this go for both sides. Most people are selfish individuals. Most people are selfish. Everybody are naturally selfish. You have to be taught not to be selfish. It is what it is. And these characteristics, nurturing, loving, and soft, Those are selfless characteristics. You can ask hundreds of men. Most women today are very, very selfish. And to dispute that is to say that these men are not living what you basically diminishing their experiences, which is kind of wild. Until they no longer feel safe enough to be soft with you. And I speak from personal experiences as well as what I've heard from hundreds of women. Like, okay, and I'll give you that. You know what I'm saying? I do believe a lot of women have said this. But you know what's really messed up about these type of situations, these type of conversations? You never get the side of the story from the other person. These conversations don't never be both of the people sitting there telling you their side of the story. You getting one side of the story and you just taking whatever she's saying as face value. How you know she ain't lying? How you know she didn't come into the relationship like that and she used what she felt like was his character flaws to justify her character flaws? Because period, point blank, I don't care how you want to slice that shit. Instead of you becoming somebody that you not naturally, why don't you just leave? Why would you? How much sense did that make for you to be a naturally soft, naturally nurturing, naturally loving person? You allow a person to make you stop being that, and your excuse for that is it's a defense mechanism. The best defense mechanism that you can use so you don't have to step outside your character is to not be there. Just an observation. She said, one ex might tell you that I was never soft, and another might tell you I was too soft, always emotional, always crying, always loving, etc. One, ain't no man ever complain about a woman being loving. That's one. But let's be real, we're not gonna sit here and act like women being overly emotional and crying too much don't be used as a defense mechanism as well. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'm just from my own experience, when me as a man start winning and my points are making sense, they like to cry to get your emotions involved to make you sidestep your point. Now, me being in the Bible for as long as I have at this point, I don't give a fuck about you crying. If I know what I'm saying is biblical, if I know what I'm saying is strictly by the book, once you finish crying, we getting right back onto my point. It is what it is. So to say that's kind of wild to me. But at the same time, for you to bring that up as well, for you to talk about these different men that you was dealt with, for you to tell the men that if you had different women telling you or acting a certain way, you might have to look at yourself. Why is that not the same rhetoric for the sisters? Because if the sisters dealing with multiple men, if the sisters dealing with just men in society, just telling women like, look, y'all masculine, y'all kind of hard. Why is that not what's being said? Why is that not the common denominator? Because it go both ways. Because I would say the same thing for the brothers. If you come in contact with all these women that's saying the same thing, it's probably you, right? So if women are dealing with all these different men and all these men are saying the same thing, it's probably you too, sis. It is what it is. I know we don't like to deal with that. I know we don't like to tell the truth about the women all the time. But I'm a Bible dude. We gonna tell the truth about everybody. It is what it is. Continuing on, it said it's a switch that we can flip on and off in defense. So whatever you get from us is a reflection of what y'all giving us, which don't make no sense to me, because you gotta really think about it, right? And this not biblical either, by the way, for the sister to be saying this not biblical. So if you a believer, you supposed to be teaching sisters the biblical way of doing things, period, point blank. She said it's a switch that we can flip on and off in defense. So whatever you get from us is a reflection of what y'all giving us, which don't make a lot of sense, because why won't you just do what you know is right to do? And if you being put in a position where you feel uncomfortable doing what you know is right, you should leave. That don't make any sense. It don't. And this goes right back to my talking points on most of my videos. Our young people, men and women, should not be making these decisions on who they want to deal with. Because for you to turn around later in life and say, I was aggressive and masculine because of the men that I was dealing with, show that you shouldn't have been picking no damn body. Period. Because your mother and your father probably wouldn't have gave you to a man that you would have had to do that with. You got to let that pride go as a man and acknowledge that if several women you've dated were so hard, non-submissive, and non-emotional, that the problem just might be you. And that's what I was going into earlier. How can you make that statement about the men when you're literally in the mode of telling the sisters who have dealt with multiple dudes that they can blame their behavior on the men? That's literally what you're doing in this. To say that women being aggressive and masculine is a defense mechanism is blaming their behavior on the men. It is what it is. You are the common denominator, which is go both ways. Everybody else can't always be the problem, which is what you're doing right now. This is literally what you're doing. Because if you're a feminine and fun and loving woman, you're gonna draw them type of people to you, especially in a day and age where women are so into your vibrations attract shit to you. If you vibrationally attracting people to you that make you step outside your character, maybe your vibrations ain't what the fuck you thought they were. Just an observation. Accountability comes with growth, respectfully. And as women, we have to learn to also be accountable and stop dating/marrying men who have us in survival mode. Which is, to me, you could have cut all that other stuff out the equation and just stuck with that. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. But at the same time, in the black community, if we're not teaching our sisters to be nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships, we can't get on here and say it's a defense mechanism for them to be masculine and aggressive. Because that's the default mode in the black community for our sisters. And if you don't want to believe that, you're a liar and you're blind. Let's keep it a stack. If we gonna keep it honest, let's go in the Bible right quick, because I want to deal with the Bible, because she's a Bible person. So we're gonna deal with the Bible. So is it biblical for a woman to turn around and start being aggressive and masculine because her man is not treating her a certain type of way? Let's get it out the Bible. This is 1 Peter chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may be without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. So what is that telling you as a woman? If you in this mindset like you can't be who you supposed to be, or it's taking you out of being feminine and soft and nurturing because he's not acting a certain way, the Bible telling you that you can't do that. That's not biblical for you to do that. Let me read it again. He said, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. To be in subjection automatically take you out of that masculine and aggressive mode of thinking. Being subjection is automatically feminine. So you can't blame your partner for your behavior according to the Bible. You're going to get judged for your own shit, period, point blank. He said that if any obey not the word. So this brother is not abiding by what God say the criteria for a man is. He not treating you the way the Bible say a man's supposed to treat his wife. So he not doing none of that, right? Reading on. They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. So what the Bible telling you is you supposed to stay in your role, and the way that you speak to him, the way that you carry yourself around him can win him over to start treating you a particular way. Now, if you don't believe in the Bible, don't deal with this verse, which most people probably don't give a damn. Most people, you don't care about the Bible, so it is what it is. But the sister who wrote the post She a Bible person, so I'm going with the Bible. Let's continue on, because we like to get into these bags where we like to blame other people for our behavior, which is not biblical. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that fear the Lord. Now, why do I get that? Because I tell this to men all the time. Whenever I see men complaining about women, I cut that shit short. If all you keep running into is women that ain't worth a damn, you, sir, ain't worth a damn. Because I know for me personally, I've never ran into a woman that I didn't like. The women that I've come in contact with, that I've been in relationships with, they was amazing. I ain't ran into no woman that I felt like wasn't a good person. But if you as a man keep running into women that ain't good, or you keep on complaining about what these women doing, let me read it again. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. So that go both ways. As a woman, if all you gonna do is complain and point out, well, these men that I'm dealing with, they cause me to be aggressive and masculine. No. Y'all are perfect for each other. Both of y'all aren't good people. You're just not. But a godly woman is given to him that feared the Lord. So because you got to think about it, it's women that don't go through this stuff that these women be talking about. It's women that was raised to be nurturing, raised to be loving, raised to be kind, raised to be soft, that never went through this shit that y'all be talking about. So you got to ask yourself, what's the difference? What's the difference in the teaching? What's the difference in the upbringing? Because the majority of our sisters are raised to be masculine. It is what it is. Y'all can lie and say that y'all not, because I try to give the sisters some leeway by actually acknowledging the fact that most of our sisters aren't taught to be wives. They're not taught to be soft. They're not taught to be feminine. They're just not. They're not taught that shit. So I give them the leeway and say, look, I understand that y'all wasn't taught this, but don't turn around and say it's the men's fault. No, it's your mama's fault. Your mama should have taught you this stuff. How do you go into a situation where you don't have the characteristics or the qualities that you speaking of, but then you turn around and blame the fact that you acting outside of the character of a woman? You blame it on that person when you never had the qualities to begin with. That shit is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it's not fair, because you wouldn't allow men to say, I'm being feminine and I'm not paying no bills and I'm not protecting, I'm not teaching, I'm not gonna lead until a woman come into my life and act the way she's supposed to act. Y'all not hearing that shit from no man. You be like, boy, if you don't go sit your bitch ass down, you're not gonna listen to no man talk like that. But we allow women to get away with saying these type of statements like their behavior is based around what other people do. That's not fair. That's not fair. And that's one of the reasons why I love the Bible, because everybody got to pay for their own actions. Imagine me stepping before God and he be like, hey, why was you doing this? Why was you acting like this in this situation? Why was you acting like this in this situation? And I turn around and tell this man, well, my wife was doing da-da-da. He like, Nick, chop his fucking head off. I don't want to hear that bullshit. I gave you commands. I gave you a way of living. I gave you criteria and qualifications that you were supposed to live up to. How do you blame you not living up to your potential on somebody else? That don't make sense. And the Most High ain't having that shit, so I'm not either. So imagine me raising my daughter to be a particular way. She get in a relationship with a man, and she just throw all the shit that I taught her out the window because this nigga ain't doing what he's supposed to do. No, ma'am, that ain't how this shit go. Same thing for my son. If I'm teaching you how to be a man, if I'm teaching you the qualities and the characteristics of a real man, you get in a relationship with a woman who ain't worth a damn. So you say, I'm not gonna be no real man no more. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. You be who you supposed to be. Don't come out here and start blaming other people for your bad character flaws. Let's go in the Bible some more. This is Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 9. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity. Because let's be honest, when you start doing these type of posts, he said, if you put away the putting forth of the finger is blaming other people for your problems. Putting forth of the finger is not taking accountability for what's going on in your life. And he says speaking vanity, because when you get into a bag where you telling other people, I act like this because of this, I move like this because of this, you speaking vanity. No, you doing that because that's what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to do. It's a lot of people that go through bad stuff all the time, but they don't allow that bad stuff to make them become a bad person. Imagine if everybody just did that. Imagine if everybody said, well, fuck it. Every time something bad happened to me, I'm just going to be a bad person too. I'm tired of it, man. But this is my problem too. Because going back to the post, she said women are naturally nurturing, loving, and soft in relationships. You don't even really see a lot of women teaching women to do this shit. Like you got some women on YouTube now that's teaching it, you know what I'm saying, that's really going hard body, teaching sisters how to be soft, how to be nurturing, how to be loving. But it's not the majority. When you listen to most of the music that our sisters listen to, it's toxic as shit. So how do you turn around, you listen to toxic music coming from women, then you turn around and say, I act toxic because the men that I'm dealing with don't know how to treat me? That don't make a lot of sense. Let's go back into this Bible right quick. This Titus chapter 2. This Titus chapter 2 and verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. So the older women are supposed to teach the younger women, right? That's how it's supposed to go. So it's a list of behaviors that's supposed to come with the older women. Verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Now I got a real question. This is Bible now. This is a believer that wrote this post. He said the older women are supposed to teach the younger women to love their husbands. If you happen to be taught something, it's because it's not natural. That's what the Bible says. If you happen to be taught how to love your children, it's because it's not natural. Most of our thoughts on the natural shit is very evil. Everybody's natural being is evil. To become the best version of yourself, you have to be taught. Period, point blank. I don't care how you want to slice that. In whatever aspects of life, to become great and to build great qualities, you have to be taught. So to say you're naturally loving, you're natural, because let's be real, women like power too. Women like being in a leadership role too. So it's I don't know. I feel like a lot of times these posts be disingenuous. Going back, verse 5. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Now let's really pay attention to this. How many women are moving like this? Because if you're not moving like this, why would you expect a good man? This just coming from a biblical perspective. If we talking about blaming bad behavior on somebody else's bad behavior, most of our sisters ain't moving like this. So why would if you're not moving like this out the gate, why would you expect to get a good guy? He said that they may teach the young women to be sober. Let's be real. We get on social media all the time. Over the weekend, women be getting toe up drunk. Let's be honest. To love their husbands. Most women don't know. They're not taught that. Their mothers and grandmothers are not teaching them that. Their mothers and grandmothers are teaching them to be strong and independent. That's going against the thought process of loving and nurturing. To love their children. To be discreet. Most of our sisters are not discreet. Discreet is to be private. Let's be honest. Chaste. Most of our sisters, they're giving that ass up. They're not being chaste. Keepers at home. Let's be real. good, obedient to their own husbands. Most women, they get into this bag where they got this conditional femininity. I'll be submissive if the man do this. The Bible ain't on that type of time. Either you're gonna do what you're supposed to do, or you're gonna die. That's going for men and women. Imagine me as a man saying, I'm not gonna pay the bills in my household. I'm not gonna protect my wife. I'm not gonna provide for my wife because she won't do A, B, and C. I would sound like a bitch ass nigga. No, I'm gonna be who I'm supposed to be as a man because that's my job. Now, if she don't want to do her job, she might have to get out of my house. And I would expect for a woman to do the same thing. I'm gonna be who I am. But if you put me in a position where I have to alter my integrity, I can't be around you. I got to go. I'm not finna alter who I am because you won't do your job. That don't make a lot of sense. But you know, it is what it is. Going back. So please, sisters, stop saying that this is a defense mechanism. It's not. This y'all default settings. It is. This is y'all default settings. And I know this because even in situations where you not trying to be romantically involved with a person, you're getting that standoff energy from the sisters just out in public. I'm married. You know what I'm saying? I might be in the store. I'll be like, hey, sis, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? At the cash register or something. It's like, why you acting like that? You know what I'm saying? I'm your brother. If you supposed to be my sister, I'm just being nice to you because, you know what I'm saying? You my folks. Why I gotta get that energy? I'm not trying to talk to you. I'm not trying to be with you. But that energy, that shit is standard in the black community. And for any sister to get on this damn post and try to say that that's not the standard in the black community, you're a liar. And I stand 10 toes on it. I stand 10 toes on it. Period, point blank. So please, sisters, please take some accountability in this shit. If you know you're a masculine sister, you know you're an aggressive sister, you need to start taking some classes on how to fix that shit because you was not taught against that. You wasn't. It's some feminine women out here, it's some soft women out here that you ain't got to even bring that shit up because they not going that aggressive shit ain't in them. It was never in them. You wanna know why? Because they was never taught to be aggressive. They was never taught to be masculine. If you've ever uttered the words, I'm strong and independent, somebody taught you to be like that. And it wasn't a man. So hey, it is what it is, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I'm out.